Tom's Picks at 804-1223 and pick up your copy of the Village Spectator today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
All right, 26 minutes before 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. 54 degrees here at The Source. Thank you for listening. And looks like our neighbors up north isn't as pleasant of a weather forecast as we have, which is probably why many of you moved here. Do you know, when I was a kid, growing up in New York, my mom had this very regimented way of deciding what allowance we would get as kids. And I can remember, getting 25 cents a week. and she would literally have this piece of paper that indicated, how much we had received. And so 25 cents a week doesn't sound like much, but remember, this was in the early 60s.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So, and anyway, I remember like it would go up each birthday, and I don't remember by what increment it would go up. But anyway, I couldn't wait until I was up to the 75-cent point, because this is going to sound so weird, but I remember this real clearly. There were so many toys in the toy department of Times Square stores that were 69 cents.
Oh.
It was like I couldn't wait to get 75 because then I'd have 69.
Yeah.
50 cents didn't do much good. You had to wait 2 weeks.
Yes.
But 60, I could get a toy a week.
Right.
Anyway, in raising my own son, I didn't do that. And so, he's an adult now, of course, but I've often thought, I wonder if I did it the right way. Because, basically, if we went to the toy store and he wanted something, I'd pretty much get it,
Yeah, me too.
As long as it wasn't out of control. No allowances for your kids? You didn't do that whole allowance thing?
No, they had money whenever they wanted. I did give them something every week, though, but just, because...
Now, I remember saying no. I remember
too.
saying I can't, or whatever, we gotta wait, or whatever. And now I go to the grocery store and I see kids like wanting things from their mom. Economics is an important lesson to learn, and maybe I dropped the ball with my own son, but he seems to be doing better than me now. So
he's great. You did a good job.
I don't know if I did a good job, but anyway, Michelle A. Balconi is on the phone. She's a freelance writer and a speaker focusing on creating connections between children and adults through economics. She's got a book. I can't wait to hear about it. It's called Let's Chat About Economics, Basic Principles Through Everyday Scenarios. And it looks like it's an illustrated book. I don't have a copy of the book here, but I see illustrations by Mary Kinsora and co-author Dr. Arthur Laffer. Michelle A. Balconi, good morning, Michelle.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Where are you?
We are in Detroit, where it is 9 degrees, so
9.
I loved hearing about your 50s.
Is it snowing there?
It is not snowing today. All of that is happening east of us.
Oh, really? Oh, you're being spared that. Well, that's one good thing, right?
Yeah, just the cold temps. We have a little snow on the ground, maybe 3 inches left.
Do you know,
Wow.
speaking about Detroit and economics, when we hear some of the bad news stories about Detroit's economics, we have to wonder what happened there. Not that this is the topic, but you had Motown and you had the car industry. Those two things alone should have made it like one of the wealthiest cities in the country.
Well, it is about economics, and I love the fact that the idea for this book came out of Detroit because, we are living in a reality where economics is at hand. Everyone really is, but you can really see the examples happening in Detroit and what failed and really what is working in our city right now. We have a lot of young folks just out of school starting businesses, starting restaurants and bars, and, it's an area that you can really thrive in now. But certainly there's evidence of what's happened in the past few years.
And so is the book a way to get children to understand how economics works from the very beginning?
It is. That is exactly the idea. And the way Dr. Laffer and I set up the book is to explain that economics is just about choices. And we as adults make choices all day. And I know most people think that when we talk econ, we're talking financial choices and financial decisions. But kids make choices all day, too. And we've written a book with familiar examples to kids and how they use their time and going to the grocery store and planning a family trip. and something for mom, dad, even the grandparents to connect with their children on through the topic of economics.
Oh, okay.
And that works perfect around the holidays or birthdays, whether it's their birthdays within their own family or they're going to a birthday party for a friend of theirs also.
It does. And you know what I like most is I like giving children the rules of the way the world works, giving them the facts in many areas, and then stepping back and seeing what they do with that information. So, for example, you're mentioning holiday time and birthday times. We have a chapter in the book, Going to the Grocery Store, that explains why things are priced the way that they're priced certain times of year. For example, we've decided the book is illustrated, and we have a graph in that chapter that graphs the price of red roses during the month of February, increasing as it gets closer and closer to February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Wow.
And kids really understand that. Our artist, Mary Consora, is extremely talented, and it's not a chart with red and blue dots and intersecting lines. It's a beautiful graph with beautiful red roses peaking on February 14th, that price decreasing the day after, which is why everyone in my family knows I get roses on February 15th.
Oh, that's too funny. I was wondering if there was a punchline coming.
There's economics involved, and it's okay. But in that chapter, we explain why things are priced according to supply and demand, and that it's not random. And I love telling our kids, and I do a lot of public speaking in schools and associations and after-school groups, and I love giving kids these facts. That's supply and demand. We go on to the next chapter to talk about opportunity cost and diminishing returns and trade-offs, because the family in that chapter is planning a road trip, a family trip. And all of these terms apply in that situation. The graph is finding the warmest temperature for the least expense. So I grew up in Florida, by the way, very near to Ocala.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Gainesville.
Oh, okay.
And some small towns around Gainesville, Micanopy, Archer. I went to Newberry High School. Got to give a shout out to my high school. So I, in that chapter, have to, of course, call on Florida and say that's where the family wants to go, but do they make it? Because they're trying to find the warmest temperature for the least expense. So we have a lot of fun with that and introducing the terms to kids so they can use it for their own decision making.
Well, what about working for the money? Does that part come in? And I don't remember my mom holding back any allowance because I didn't take out the garbage or something.
Right.
I just remember it was there, almost like the way the government gives you money. But in the real world, if you don't work, you don't get paid.
Mm-hmm.
It's true, and in Chapter 3, we address some of those issues. It's a summertime chapter. How are you using your time in the summer? And 2 kids are in the family in this chapter, and one child says, I just want to sit around and do free stuff all summer. I'm not going to do my chores. You don't have to pay me allowance because I'm just going to do free stuff this summer. And, Mom and Dad think it's a good time to learn about saving a little bit. And so they introduce a saving strategy for the kids. One of the children adopts it and one doesn't. And the way the story unfolds, you see what the consequences are. But in that chapter, we teach kids there's no such thing as a free lunch. Just because you're doing something for free, maybe it's visiting, the Smithsonian museums, which are a national treasure. They're free to you walking in, but that doesn't mean someone else isn't paying for it.
Oh, right.
So
good. Wow, I love this. I love what you've done here. Yeah.
These are all based on our conversations at home, and that chapter is a great way to talk about taxes. So we introduce what taxes are and what they pay for, our teachers, our police, all these wonderful things. But you got to work and you got to pay for those things if you'd like to have them.
Do you teach them also about buying brands versus off brands? Because when my children were in middle school, there was another young friend that I had taken with them to go school shopping for school supplies, and my kids picked out their school supplies, and she wanted the friend wanted these brands of folders and stuff, and I said, no, we have to get the other kind because I can't afford that. And she just threw it down. She said, well, fine, and walked off. And then my kids said, why would she do that? And then I had to explain about the mom and everything. But do you teach kids about attitude? If they can't buy a name brand of something, they should get an off brand but still have a good attitude?
We do. That is a hot topic in our house. We have a 12 and a 14-year-old, and I hear brand and off-brand all the time. So also very popular with boys right now is the shoe game. They call it the shoe game, and, there are all kinds of sneakers that, you and I maybe had white canvas, but that's not even for sale these days. No more Keds. So, well, actually, I think Keds might be on a comeback. But we do, in Chapter 4, we introduce the concept of elasticity. Does a product change or react depending on what the demand is and how price fits in there? And the branded items that you're speaking about are always more expensive, and so is someone willing to buy them, or is that an elastic brand? So we talk about that in Chapter 4. We use the example of the must-have tech gadget. I don't name it, but there are certain tech gadgets that the kids have to have. And again, in this story, if you have a lot of choices, you're going to have a lot of flexibility in pricing. But if you have to have that must-have, branded tech gadget, then there's not a lot of choice in price. And do you really want it?
Wow.
We talked about want versus need and elasticity in that chapter.
Well, this definitely sounds like a wonderful book for kids, and the fact that you've designed it with some good advice and at the same time doing it through storytelling and illustrations, this is a win-win. The book is called Let's Chat About Economics. How do we get the book?
The book is for sale on Amazon, and that's in paperback, Kindle, and a hardcover. And I'm reaching out to independent bookstores. It's kind of an organic grassroots effort right now with the book. But my co-author, Dr. Laffer, is a wonderful, brilliant, very well-known economist. And, to partner with him, this was just a wonderful opportunity to put the facts, with families on the couch around our country.
All right. Michelle, thank you for taking time out of your day. Stay warm up there. I bet you miss it. I bet you miss it down here sometimes anyway.
I do.
Thank you for doing this. I think this is, they always say the key to success is finding a need and filling it. And I think this is a need that needed to be filled. So.
Well, thank you for having me, and I agree. I love to chat with our kids, and I'd love to give that opportunity to other families, too. Just have a two-way conversation about economics.
I love the fact that you included that the free stuff is not free, that taxpayers pay for it. I love that part, too. Well, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for what you're doing, and you're always welcome back.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Bye-bye.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. I have a lot of clouds and a shower or two this morning. Then clouds will break for sunshine this afternoon. It'll be a windy, cooler day with a high in the 60s. Clear, breezy, and chilly tonight, 38 to 42. Tomorrow, partly sunny and breezy, high 60 to 64. On Wednesday, mostly sunny and quite cool, high 58 to 62. From the Florida